Each year in the United States, thousands of major crimes go unsolved. When the case has gone cold and police have nowhere to turn, they seek assistance from the public. This is a program dedicated to solving these cases. This is Crime Stoppers Case Files.
Welcome to Crime Stoppers, South Florida Case Files. I'm Dick Maston, the director of Miami-Dade Crime Stoppers. The purpose of this program is to share unsolved cases with as many South Florida viewers as possible, empowering you to do something about the violence on our streets. Every case we feature is unsolved. Every case we feature has a cash reward available. In other words, every case we feature is an opportunity for you to help your community and at the same time earn Crime Stoppers cash without even giving your name. Now let's get started. On December the 17th of 2006, 17-year-old Rachel Lewis stopped by a home in North Miami Beach to speak with her boyfriend. A few short minutes later, Rachel was shot and her promising young life came to an end.
Hello, Rachel, jump in the shoot. I need police over here.
Okay, what is the address?
1723 Northeast 182nd Street. I think somebody got hit.
Where are you?
Somebody got hit. Somebody got hit.
1723 Northeast 182nd Street. Okay, we're on the way.
On December 17, 2006, Rachel Lewis was shot in the 1700 block of Northeast 182nd Street in North Miami Beach at approximately 2 a.m. in the morning. Rachel Lewis, our victim, had received a phone call from her boyfriend asking her to come over. When she arrived, her boyfriend and his friends had just arrived home after being out that evening. When she got there, they all kind of hung out for a few minutes, Rachel never even getting a chance to exit her vehicle. When they were there talking, they saw a dark model Chevy Impala drive by at a slow rate of speed on their street, eastbound. This alarmed them because they had been having recent problems in the area with a lot of drive-by shootings. So when they saw that type of vehicle, not knowing who was inside, they became alarmed and they went inside their house. However, Rachel and her boyfriend stayed outside talking because Rachel was going to be leaving in a few minutes. Rachel was sitting in her car and her boyfriend was standing outside the car. They were just chatting, and at which time they saw the same vehicle driving down their street. They immediately noticed as it got closer that the windows on the driver and the passenger side began to lower. As they were looking at the vehicle, they then observed an assault rifle sticking outside on the driver's side of the vehicle and began firing multiple rounds. The passenger actually had to stick his hand out of the passenger side window, go over and up on top of the roof and started firing that way. When the shooting began, the boyfriend took off, as any normal person would. He ran towards the house and there was another parked vehicle there. He got down and he ran in front of the vehicle and then ran to the back of the house. And Rachel attempted to get out of her vehicle, but on the passenger side. And that's where she was struck by a bullet. Once the shooting stopped, they took off at a high rate of speed eastbound. Officers arrived on the scene, rescue was requested immediately, and she expired on the scene. Our investigation revealed that it appears that Rachel Lewis was not the intended target that night. There was a young man that is a known gang member that used to go to that house at times, and it's believed that he was the intended target.
There was a issue between a gang from Little Haiti and a gang up in North Miami Beach over an incident that happened at a club. And the rivalry just grew to the extent that they started shooting at each other. Rachel Lewis had nothing to do with it at all. It was purely this other person that they were looking for. I believe that Rachel was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Rachel lived with her mom and her younger brother. However, she did like to go visit her father at least once a week. She seemed to have a good relationship with him as well.
He's a nice girl, never got in trouble for nobody. I don't know why the guy with the people coming to kill him, because my daughter love me and love my daughter. That's my big problem.
Rachel was actually 4 days shy of turning 18 years of age. She was supposed to graduate at Michael Crop High School in June of 2007. I met with her mother, Marie, and she informed me that Rachel was looking forward to graduating high school that year, and that when she graduated, she was planning on going to college. Unfortunately, at this time, the case has gone unsolved, and if anyone has any information regarding Rachel Lewis, please call the North Miami Beach Police Department at 305-948-2940, and you can ask for Detective Denham. And if you'd like to remain anonymous, you can call Miami-Dade Crime Stoppers.
Rachel wasn't the target of these killers. She was an innocent bystander, killed because certain members of our society aim to kill, and they don't care who else dies in the process. What some thug might consider collateral damage was actually a young lady who was making something of her life, and now she's gone. Police are looking for the two men who were traveling in a newer model brown four-door Chevy Impala with tinted windows. If you have any information that could help detectives, call Crime Stoppers at 305-471-TIPS. You can remain anonymous and be eligible for a cash reward of up to $1,000. Coming up, you'll learn about the March 2011 murder of 23-year-old Anthony Williams when we return with Crime Stoppers Case Files.
Crime Stoppers is an international organization dedicated to bringing resolution to unsolved crimes. Members of the public work with police to make the world a safer place. Since 1975, thousands of Crime Stoppers organizations worldwide have helped make over 1 million arrests. Crime Stoppers acts as your advocate, keeping you anonymous and ensuring that your information gets to the right law enforcement agency. To leave a tip, log on to www.crimestoppers1.com.
On March the 5th, 2011, 23-year-old Anthony Williams was killed as he sat in his car at a Miami Gardens apartment community. Here's the story.
Well, growing up with him was like the best time. We were very competitive. In sports, he played basketball and I played basketball as well, and he also played football and I was a cheerleader. So where you see Anthony, you see me. We was together all the time.
Anthony was a brave young boy. He was very protective of his family. He was very funny. He loved to help anyone. He was very kind.
He was very outgoing. He cared for the community. He motivated me to become a better person.
I can remember one day, Anthony and I was riding in the car, and it was a senior citizen fell in the middle of the road. He turned around in that car and he got out that car and helped this lady get up and was willing to take her to the hospital. And she thanked him so much. And I was so proud of my son to do such a thing like that, because you don't expect that from young people today.
He was a person that was well known. He liked to laugh and make jokes, and whoever was around him enjoyed themselves.
He had big dreams, and I teach my kids, whatever you want in life, you work for it. You save and you sacrifice. You can have whatever you want. And that's something that I know Anthony did.
They said it was the fire. Can I help you?
I'm right now the police at 2601 Northwest 207th Street.
What apartment?
It's a Crystal Lake apartment.
Is it coming from inside or one of the apartments?
It's outside.
How many gunshots did you hear?
Like 10.
Okay, I'll have one check down. Thank you.
On Saturday, March 5th, 2011, at 12:10 a.m., Miami Gardens Police Department officials were dispatched to the Crystal Lake Apartments at 2601 Northwest 207th Street in Miami Gardens. Reference a shots fired call. Upon arrival, the Miami Gardens Police Department units found a black male shot within his vehicle. Fire rescue responded to the scene and pronounced Anthony Williams, the 23-year-old victim, deceased. Throughout the course of investigation, it was learned that Mr. Williams visited a friend that evening. After arrival at the Crystal Lake Apartments, he did not exit his vehicle. He stayed inside his vehicle and was approached by an individual that he must have known. As this individual approached from the west and approached Mr. Williams' vehicle, there was a conversation that led on. Now, it's unknown how long this conversation actually lasted, but it is known that at some point an argument must have occurred. At some time during the conversation, a handgun was displayed and the handgun was discharged and Mr. Williams was struck multiple times. At that time, the individual fled either on foot or in a vehicle.
And when the phone rang after 12 o'clock, I knew that something had happened to Anthony.
I went there to the crime scene to see was it true, and they didn't let us identify him, but I told them what he had on when he left my house, and they said pretty much that was him. And I guess like our world just stopped, because that's something that we never thought would happen, especially to someone like him.
The last time I saw Anthony was that Friday night, and he said, "Mom, I'm leaving. I love you." And I told Anthony, "I love you too." I didn't know that that was gonna be the last time that I saw my son.
Welcome back to Crime Stoppers Case Files. We now return to the story of the murder of Anthony Williams.
On Saturday, March 5th, 2011, Miami Gardens Police Department officials found Anthony Williams, a 23-year-old black male, shot multiple times inside his vehicle at the Crystal Lake Apartments. During the course of investigation, it was learned that the victim, Anthony Williams, used to live inside the Crystal Lake Apartments and recently moved out. It was learned that Mr. Williams visited a friend that evening. After arrival at the Crystal Lake Apartments, he did not exit his vehicle. An individual approached Mr. Williams' vehicle from the west on foot and made contact with Mr. Williams. At some time during the conversation, Mr. Williams was shot multiple times. Since Mr. Williams felt comfortable enough to allow this individual to get close enough to him within a close proximity and not put up any type of fight, then that leads the police to believe during this course of an investigation that Mr. Williams actually knew who murdered him. Witnesses did say that they heard multiple gunshots, but they did not see anyone flee or leave the scene on foot or in a vehicle.
My son didn't deserve this, and they took a wonderful young man away. We don't know how to deal with this.
Our family is like incomplete. We always been together, and to do something every day, to see a person every day, to hear a joke from a person every day and not to hear it, it's not right. And not only did they take away my brother, but a son, a cousin, a loving person. And I just want to let anybody who know anything to come forward and tell us, because our life, it's already changed without him. But just knowing if they can close the case or have some kind of closure, it'll be a wonderful thing that happened to our family. Just to know that we know what happened to my brother.
We know that individuals at the Crystal Lake Apartments were outside when this incident occurred, and we know that someone saw something, and we're asking the public's assistance in this murder. We're hoping that somebody will come forward and call either Crime Stoppers at 305-471-TIPS or myself, Detective Zellner at the Miami Gardens Police Department, 305-474-1622.
Anthony left behind a loving family, and they're asking you for answers. Police believe there were a number of witnesses that evening in Miami Gardens. If you know anything about this case, call Crime Stoppers at 305-471-TIPS. You can remain anonymous and be eligible for a cash reward of up to $1,000. Welcome back to Crime Stoppers, South Florida Case Files. I'm Dick Maston. It's been proven that programs such as ours solve crimes after several airings of a case. With that in mind, we'd like to quickly review a few cases that we've featured on past episodes. On May 6, 2010, on Northwest 62nd Street at Range Park in Little Haiti, 19-year-old Eric Pratt was killed in broad daylight near a crowded pool. Here's the story.
We're here at Range Park in Liberty City, where the victim Eric Pratt was shot and killed on May 6, 2010 at approximately 6:15 p.m. We had two individuals, two suspects, exit a white SUV parked just west of the pool here. Both individuals walked along this corridor right here and onto the basketball court. They proceeded to walk this way in a casual manner towards the victim, and two of his friends were sitting down. Actually, they were playing a game of dice. As they got closer, they veered over to the victim, Eric Pratt, along with his two friends. Basically, once they approached the victim here, they asked the three individuals, the victim and his two friends, if anybody had any weed. They replied that no one had any weed. Immediately after that, both suspects banished firearms from their waistbands and executed the victim, Eric Pratt, here on the scene on the basketball court. You're right here where this X is where he fell. All the casings were in this general area. Apparently, his two friends ran this way through the hole in the fence. They made it through the gate without being shot. That gives us reason to believe that our victim, Eric Pratt, was actually targeted. As they fired shots, the suspect with the dreads continued to fire at the victim as he laid on the ground, basically in an execution style. Those two individuals, our two suspects, then fled back in a westward direction to a waiting vehicle, which was a white, late model Chevy Tahoe with dark tinted windows, leaving the victim here on the ground with multiple gunshot wounds. The victim here is the 18-year-old Eric Pratt. Our suspects are two black males between 20 and 25. One individual, black male, dark skin complexion, long dreads to his shoulder length. The other suspect is a light-skinned black male with a low boy haircut.
And I pray every night whoever did it get caught, because I miss them. And I don't know why they'll take them like that.
We need more answers. If anybody know or can help with this case, we'd be glad if you pick up the phone and call.
The number is 305-603-6350, or you can call Crime Stoppers Tips.
If you have any information about this tragic murder, please call Miami-Dade Crime Stoppers, 305-471-TIPS. On July 1st, 2010, 36-year-old Shedrick Ursery was shot at the 3200 block of Northwest 151st Terrace while riding his bicycle to work. Here's the story.
On Thursday, July 1st, 2010, at approximately 4:56 p.m., Shedrick Ursery was riding his bicycle eastbound on 151st Terrace, approaching the 3200 block of Northwest 151st Terrace. Mr. Ursery was traveling from his work release program to work. He was traveling on his bicycle when he was observed to be followed by a white work van. As the van approached and subsequently hit Mr. Ursery was jolted from his bicycle. He did fall to the ground. Both occupants of the van confronted Mr. Ursery where the physical altercation had taken place. It was a physical fight where fists were being thrown, and the fight eventually made its way towards the side of the south end of the road. It was alleged that the passenger of the van displayed what is apparently a 9mm semi-automatic firearm and had fired multiple shots into the body of Mr. Ursery. Both occupants ended up getting back into the van. As they left, their direction was from west to east, and they ended up running over the decedent's bicycle as they took off, traveling eastbound on Northwest 151st Terrace. Mr. Ursery was left on the side of the road where he ended up succumbing to his injuries, which were all fatal. Mr. Ursery has been described as someone that had been incarcerated in the past but was actually getting his life back on track. He was involved in a work release program. He did have a job. It appears that he was doing the right thing. It's my understanding that Mr. Ursery was the father of some children, and it's just very disappointing that no one has actually come forward to report anything that they may have seen. This incident did happen in broad daylight. People were out. The suspects appeared to be two black males, possibly shaved heads, approximately 6 feet tall, and anywhere from 150 to 175 pounds. My name is Detective Dave Noble. I'm assigned to the Miami Gardens Robbery Homicide Unit. My partner is Detective Joseph Zellner. I can be contacted. My direct line is 305-474-1566, or as always, to be eligible for potentially a $1,000 reward where you can remain anonymous, you can contact Miami-Dade Crime Stoppers at 305-471-TIPS.
Crime Stoppers of Miami-Dade has one goal: to make the streets safer for law-abiding citizens by solving cases and capturing criminals. To learn more about your local Crime Stoppers, become a fan on Facebook or log on to crimestoppersmiami.com. Now I'm Dick Maston. Be sure to join us next week for another episode of Crime Stoppers Case Files.